right, everyone, here we are, day 11 of the Lockdown Golf Podcast, but you may be watching this as well. This will also be episode 11. Oh, look at that. Our 11s are lining up.
Wow.
Of That Range Life, a show sometimes about golf. Let me explain. As you all know, my esteemed colleague, we're going to go with that, Chris McEwen, chrismcEwen.com, at Chris McEwen on the social media. So you can find him on Facebook if you work hard enough. You'll figure it out. We decided, due to the super dry well of golf content right now, whether it's news, whatever happening, we're just going to double up and utilize a recording of That Range Life for the same as the podcast in one shot. So I hope you all don't mind. Don't worry about any sort of mathematical what day is it acrobatics you have to do. These are weird times. This is going to be extra weird. Thanks for joining us. Chris, how are you?
I'm good, man. Yeah, so for those of you listening on the podcast, if you want to see the visual of the podcast, you can go to youtube.com/Chris McEwen and watch it.
But not till, so you're going to be here. I am going to do the acrobatics once.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Listen to the podcast on Monday, the 30th, but you can't watch it on YouTube. Thursday, April 2nd.
Right. That's right.
Now,
that's right.
If you only watch us on YouTube and you're watching this on Thursday, April 2nd and beyond, if you want to hear what it's like to have to hear this and not see it, and you haven't figured out how new tabs work in a browser, you can go back and download our podcast, the Lockdown Golf Podcast, from Monday, March 30th. Does everybody get this? Yeah? Chris, do you think it makes sense?
Good enough.
All right. Now here's my question to you. How many people do you think actually care?
Probably zero, including us.
That's right. I think.
Right.
Let me see here. Let me see. Yep, zero. Zero.
Right.
All right, man. So hey, well, no, like, not even joking here. We're still alive. That's good.
That is good. Yeah.
I don't think I have the coronavirus, and I think I've hit my my clock on quarantine, so that's kind of nice. You had that restart. Yeah, that restart with your unfortunate, I'll say, nearish or encounter with somebody who, 1 degree separation of positivity.
Yeah. So for those that didn't listen to probably episode 9 or 10 of the podcast, I live in a condo in the city of Chicago, and we have a person that does all the cleaning of the general areas of the building, and that person's roommate, who happens to be his sister, has coronavirus. So my wife's and I, our day count reset real hard a couple days ago.
Hey, do you have any idea how his sister's doing? In all seriousness,
we haven't heard yet. No, my wife sent an email trying to get a follow-up to find out, but we haven't heard back.
It's one of those things you're like, no, I'm not asking as like a terrified, nosy person. It's like I'm trying to be a concerned,
totally
caring individual.
Yeah, and we're like, we're friendly with we see the janitor every day. We tip him out for the holidays. Like, we like the guy. We want to make sure he's safe, and we certainly want to make sure his sister's okay. So, yeah, it's much more, I mean, if we didn't, at this point, I just kind of feel like we're like super paranoid as it is here in Illinois. I just feel like Chicago is a ticking, time bomb. It's like it's only a matter of time before our numbers shoot. So, yeah.
I mean, I think not to go too deep into this because it's part of me is like I don't feel like people care what we have to say, but at the end of the day, this is what's going on right now, and this is what there is to cover. Like, this is the topic, even though we're recording this on Sunday, and my wife and I have a rule. My wife observes it pretty well, and when I give her the look, she's like, "Oh yeah, that's right." But Sunday's no coronavirus talk day, and these days also no work talk. Like, let's not. I don't want to touch either topic on Sunday.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good rule. I think we may have inadvertently followed that today. No, we talked about it a little bit, but
It's just
no,
neat. I
no
mean, there's
worked on
certain.
for sure.
It's just think of how much you're sitting there on your phones looking through, and you're like, "Oh, did you
Ah,
see this? Did you see that?" And I go, right now, it's like, I mean, I've been talking about it on this podcast a lot. It's not getting better. Like, I'm not sleeping at night, and I'd be lying to you if I told you it was all like, "Oh my god, am I gonna get coronavirus?" But like, I'm super stressed. The work as a result of coronavirus has me
yeah,
super stressed, and then just the world being my personal world being turned upside down. And I feel like there's no sort of sense of, I don't want to say time. That sounds so cheesy, but there's no sense of the presence. And so you could tell. I mean, there's a time that I'm like, yeah, we got to put the kids down soon for bed, and I'm like, we haven't even had dinner yet. It's like 2:30 p.m. You know,
right,
and you're just
right.
like, oh, that's right. But yeah, so it's scary, and I don't like. I
Yeah.
agree with you. I think we're a ticking time bomb, and I keep referencing St. Patrick's Day. All those people slammed in the bars together,
Yeah.
and just what I've seen when I have had to go out. Now people are being better about it. I will tell you, we did a carry out from a restaurant last night.
Okay.
I know, again, but as I always say, I know what I touched. I know when and how I sanitized.
Right.
I know how I covered myself. Went in there and I stayed as far away from anyone as I can. No one coughed on me. No one like hawked a loogie in my mouth. Unfortunately, that's very, I enjoy that recreationally when I go places.
Gross.
So
So
gross.
gross.
I don't know how that would happen, but I haven't made physical contact with anyone. I stayed far away from people. So it's like, I know I'm good there. I'm not starting to get crazy. Like everyone, this thing's not jumping off the walls at people. Like you have
Right.
to do stuff to get it. But I'm hearing stories of people going to get their carry out or being in lines at the grocery store, and they're, just like you'd normally get in line right behind somebody or right next to someone. You can't do
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah.
I think we're in for, and we talked about this before the mics went hot. I love my industry lingo. Industry lingo, like I have any clue. We you don't know what anyone else is doing, and you have to think, again, given we're a ticking time bomb, that there's not going to be we don't have too many days of picking up carry out, and like, oh, restaurants and bars can be essential businesses. I do think liquor stores will continue to be essential businesses,
Yeah.
but this is going to be like grocery, pharmacy, hospital only soon.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's a case of like before where we're saying we've proven we can't be trusted, but it's just for the best of everyone. Everyone staying safe, and whatever we got to do to control it. I mean, God bless them, and I'll probably hear this. My father-in-law's like, I don't care how you guys are quarantining, whatever. He goes, I don't think we're not going to be together till September. And I mean,
Wow.
part of me is like, you're a crazy person. Other part of me is like,
Yeah.
I applaud the vigilance, and he's
Yeah.
obviously I'm not a teenager. He's older
Yeah.
than me, right? And
Yeah. Right.
he's like, be smart and safe about this. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. I think things are gonna get weird, and again, this is why the Sunday rule of like, just don't talk about it. And I'll just say I'm still seeing it on my phone and whatnot, but there's quite a bit of, I'll have to, damn, touch my face a bunch. I've been at home, my hands are clean, there's nothing here. Touch my face all I want right now.
All right. Fine. But we do have some golf to talk about.
We do have
You
a
had a
lot.
bunch of conversations today with other people. I feel like I was really
Yeah.
left out of all your chats.
Oh, I've tried texting you like 4 times today, and busiest man in the world apparently. So whatever, I don't want to
I
hear
told
it.
you I was binging Ozark, man. I was focused.
First episode. Let's get into Ozark. It wasn't on our list of things to talk about.
No, but I'm ready. So how many episodes are you through? I think I'm through 4.
We're through 2.
Okay.
And I would be watching 3 right now. Though I don't know. Walking Dead was recorded tonight, and so was Westworld. But I'm also, I don't even know if I started season 2 of Westworld, so I don't care. I just got to make sure I got them all recorded.
Yeah, I started season 2, but I didn't finish it.
It wasn't as captivating as season 1, and so
Season
you were
1's
like,
really good.
season 2, you're kind of like, oh, I'm gonna have to work a little bit, so
Yeah.
I'll get to it. And now it's been like 17 years, right? But Ozark, I gotta tell, maybe we're 3 through. Let me find out. Hey Sarah, how many Ozark episodes have we watched? 3. So I'm 3 through. Thank you.
All right, great.
We're
So
close.
if you don't want to, if you're holding off on watching Ozark, you may want to fast forward a bit, and I'll wave at the camera. I'll wave at the camera when we're done talking Ozark.
Yeah.
For spoiler alerts.
Oh no, I won't give any spoilers away. Here's what I'm gonna say. The first episode, I was like, oh, holy shit, I can't.
Yeah.
We're in quarantine, the amount of stuff we're watching, like I can't take on another
stressful.
like, man, you really gotta think, and ooh, it's
Yeah.
so mysterious. Like just Ozark me, baby, you know? And
So good though. Can I tell you too? So episode 1, because I'm a big director nerd. Episode 1 was directed by Jason Bateman. He's quickly becoming one of my favorite directors.
well, you telling me by the way, as we discussed last podcast and catching my language, I've caught my language twice already. To tell your boy this his first episode of he's becoming Mr. Directing legend up and comer episode, this season 3 of Ozark.
Yeah.
Episode 1 of season 3 of Ozark was boring as shit.
Oh, you're crazy.
Episode 1 I thought was terrible.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
don't get me
You've
wrong.
never been wronger in your life. You're the wrongiest of the wrong.
First off, it's not true. That's way wronger. Second off, I love the hard pronunciation of the G's in wrong. 3, I get it. You got to set up the episodes coming up and get everyone back in the story. But I'm like, okay. But
first of all, the thing starts off with, I mean, come on. The opening scene.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Oh, season 3, by the way. The message sent, if you will, toward the end of the episode, back quarter of the episode, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe involving some corpses. I'll just say that.
Oh yeah. Jeez.
I mean, I can't tell you especially in these like Netflix series, we don't rewind unless we like really didn't hear something, whatever, but to see something again, ever.
Yeah.
We had to rewind and like, wait, what did I just see?
Yeah. Pretty rough.
But yes. Yeah. So fine. We don't see eye to eye in episode 1. Episode 2 and 3.
Fantastic.
I'm back.
Yeah. It's
I'm
good.
in. So good.
I'm a little concerned that they have too many moving parts, but I have confidence in the writers that they'll bring it together and make it work. I don't want it to get too busy, between like I'd forgotten about Zeke, like the Zeke storyline, and then the new storyline, and then the current like season 2 storyline. Like,
there's been a lot of me going to my wife, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Wait, what's their issue? Well, why do they care about that?
Right.
There's been a lot of that, but oh well, it's still been enjoyable.
I'll be done with it tonight. I'll bet. Real close. What are there 8 episodes?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I may be done.
You know what? No, I have no idea. 8. I feel like 8's the Netflix number.
Yeah, it seems like usually 8 to 10 is like their sweet spot.
But
anyway,
yeah,
that's what I was doing while you were having all your golfy talk with all your golfy people. You big, huge golf guy.
Should everyone know I'm a huge golf guy? Yeah. So, I don't remember where my day started, but I reached out to. I communicate with the Scott Redmond Concepts people out of England quite a bit, and just had my usual mornings of chatting with them. And I asked a question about a project Scott's working on, and that turned into Scott texting me a lot of details about it. I said, oh, hey, well, I have you here because Scott's a huge like vintage golf equipment nerd.
Okay.
Because I said golf equipment nerd. And more so not from like, oh, he was interested. Like he grew up with it, and he was trying to make a go of it as a pro in the early 90s. And so, in the 80s and playing Persimmon Woods or right So I sent him pictures of my McGregor driver, and he's like, wow, that's great. And then I sent him my sick bag, and he saw my Hogan's in there, my Hogan irons, and he asked me questions about those. And he goes, you need to look up, I'm probably saying this wrong, but Merriman conductors. Like, I've never even heard of these. He's like, oh, mate, you know, because he's English. He goes, check them out. He's like, I've never hit anything more pure in my life. They're amazing. I played them before I played Titleist. Look them up. Huh. So thanks to him.
Yeah, that's what you needed. That's what you needed.
And I'm pacing myself. And I was like, they're not going anywhere. They've been around for decades. So if there's any available in the used market, I can wait. But problem is I know about them now, so I'll start looking into them and figuring them all out. And he's like, oh, this guy played him, that guy played him. I don't even know who these people are, but they're, you know, probably old school Euro Tour British golfers that just aren't common names here. He did tell me.
So wait, they're not even just vintage, but they're like Euro vintage?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know anything about them, you know?
For some reason, I think that would be better. I don't know why, but I feel like overseas vintage be like, ooh.
Well, I'll post them to my nerdy Facebook group, who a lot of those guys are UK based, and they'll be like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
And then the American guys will be like, wow, I don't know anything about those. Tell me.
Yeah.
So, or none of that'll happen. One of the two. But, you know, it's like now I'm going to have to learn everything I can about them and obsess over them. And there's different models, blah, blah, blah. Ian Woosnam did play them.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's, you know, that's vintage golf talk for the podcast.
There's the vintage segment. It's like a mandatory segment now with us.
As long as we're in quarantine, it's going to happen. And then
wait till we start playing them, though, man. Then we're never gonna shut up about them.
That'll be like fall 2021.
Same.
Yeah, who cares? At least it'll happen. And then Andy Gorman of Andy Gorman Golf and Golfin. I don't remember even how I like. What's that? Yeah, golfin.club.
Right.
Don't try to tag them in Instagram, because at golfin.club, it'll go, this is a link. You can't post this in here and not let you save it. I've reached out to the powers that be and said, kind of a bad Instagram name, guys. Got to fix
that. Is that their tag? I thought it was at Golfin. Is it at golfin.club?
The name's Golfin. Their tag is at golfin.club. So you can tag them in the picture.
Yeah.
Put them in your text.
Right. Okay.
So I was like, Golf Media 101, bros. I'm in the biz. So I don't know how I started talking to him. And I said to him, hey, I have this idea, and I won't go into it, but I think it'd be good, a mutually beneficial thing. And I got this idea from watching the Instagram live stream we've been talking about so much, which I've so far continued to love them. I don't know if it's just a golf nerd thing or it's because I like them. I don't know, but I'm so excited for tomorrow's. He's doing them 3 days a week now. And it was interesting talking to him today, because we talked about my idea for like 2 seconds, and then went on Golf Nerds Across the Pond talk. And he was saying, you know, this is trying to figure out what to do with the brand, so to speak, while we're in quarantine here. And I went, yeah, I could do an hour 3 times a week of an Instagram show. That's no problem. But then the reality is, I go, well, the house, I need to make sure the house is clean, because it's in my house. Yeah. I need to get everything set up and ready and lined up. Okay, now we got about a half hour till it starts, and I have to coordinate with this guy, because I can't. He does it with another guy in his ear, like wearing a headphone, right? Okay. He's like, I with what I'm doing, I can't read everything on the screen, so he feeds it to me as I need to. So then it's an hour straight of answering questions, talking, instructing, demonstrating. And then after it, it's going back and replying to questions and addressing things and following up on everything that came in. Then you have to, you know, take all the stuff and post anywhere else it needs to be posted. He goes, so it's then it's like a 3.5 hour thing, but I come off of it, I'm just buzzing, and it's like, okay, you know, all right, it's 4 PM. just go about my life. And I'm like, no, I'm in the golf groove. I got to do this, got to do that. And before it finally like 7:00, I'm like, okay, back to life.
Wow.
It's not just a 3-hour commitment. And he's like,
Yeah.
I'm sure you know. And I explain how like, yeah, we think, oh, just hop on and record this podcast or YouTube show real quick. And next thing you know, you and I have been at it for 2.5 hours.
Right. For
But
sure.
I got to tell you, man, I don't know. I'm starting to notice a trend. I don't know if it's just these guys have been around so long that they can tell me things from the old days, give me insight from their years of experience or what it is. But I just really like talking to him, and I think this is why I really buy into a lot of his instruction stuff, but he's so good at making the whether it's the content, the conversation, anything he's saying super easy to absorb, relatable, and whatever. And it's just I feel like I benefit so much from just talking to the guy, and it's interesting. I mean, even if it's not golf stuff, like we were talking coronavirus and where he lives, which is where I'm very familiar with, where I have friends and people I work with. He goes, yeah, like these shops. He goes, yeah, that's where we go for food, but one of us can only go in at a time. And so I had to go up to this other place. And you're like, man, I don't know. So I don't know. I'm excited for where things are going with him and his brand. I'm excited to be working with him professionally, if you will. And it's a perfect example of why'd you get into this whole golf blog, whatever you want to call it, biz. And like for experiences like this, not so much, whoa, so I get better and instructions and free gear. Like that's cool. Right. But make a buddy across the pond and just, take that soul into your brain and have it be part of your like stratosphere. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. I think they have a good product. They have a good idea. And so he's doing that. You said he's doing it. Is it officially Monday, Wednesday, Friday now on Instagram?
It's what he says.
That's awesome. I know he was kind of piloting it. And then, so it's going to be a thing now.
Yeah. Well, I think, honestly, I just think the first one went so well.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know when I've hopped on a few times, there's quite a few people watching. So
sweet.
Especially for him being wedge and short game and putting. I mean, our buddy J Riv texted me about if I have any extra putting mats or anything, which is funny. Yeah. I know I have one or had one. Now I'm thinking I threw it away because I think I tried for years to get it to people. Like, do you want this? Like, no, I already have one or whatever. It wasn't super fancy, but to me, when you're in quarantine, it'd get the job done.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find it. And I know he got the putt out cup. I never say that right. I say that like, ooh,
it's like it's the putt out. It's the putt out. It's not even a cup. You don't have a putt out.
Nah, I got my own system. I'm good. Listen, not everybody here is like, yeah, no, I know what a putt out is. For those who don't know, it is essentially a cup thing
it's awesome.
to putt a golf ball into.
It's not a cup. It's a ramp with a hole cut in it.
I know what it is. I'm telling people who don't know because they're not golf nerds and want to look it up.
You write reviews for a living? Is that what you do?
Then I don't have the putt out.
There's no cup involved.
The concept is it is a putting cup to putt to and make a putt in. But correct, it is not a physical. It's not an actual cup. I will grant that. But what I want people to think of walking away from here who don't know what it is,
keep talking.
If you are at home and you need some putting practice, the putt out, you put it down, pretend it's the hole. No, that way. See that little blue disc? You don't hear we're doing this on the YouTube show. So for those listening only, the putt out.
Thursday, log on to YouTube and you can see what I'm holding up. Or just Google putt out.
It has a little round disc shape at the front of it. In this case, Chris's is blue. Guess what? It is the size of a putting cup or hole.
It's the size of a hole. You're right.
So therefore, it is simulating that experience. Now, Chris, the concept, correct me if I'm wrong, is if you do it correctly, it's kind of like it's to get your feel, stops in the hole.
Right.
and then will pop back to you. If you don't do it correctly, it goes up the ramp,
Right.
and can come back.
Right.
If you do it too hard, it might launch off like Tony Hawk on a launch ramp.
Right.
I don't know the young hip. Nigel Houston, there's a young hip skateboarder, and he's not even young and hip anymore.
Yeah. The idea is you want to stop in this spot here. There's a little,
which is a hole in the middle of the ramp that you can't see.
So what it teaches you is to hit roughly 12 inches past the hole, right? So you don't leave so many putts short, and it just really helps you with your touch. Now, obviously, this would be the hole you're aiming for, but you want it to land there, and it's the most addicting thing that I own in my house.
So anyway.
Oh, there you go. That's a good angle of it. You can see the hole there.
It's a great angle if you're watching.
And there's a mat too. My mat is right here in the office.
Now, J-Riv has also ordered the mat, I believe. But anyway, I said, like, look, I think so.
Oh, okay.
I said, hey, there are people that want to, bash their head into a wall, and they're like, they'll putt. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people laying glasses down and just putting to them.
Oh, for sure.
Hey, there's this guy who's got some great putting tips on the internet. Well, I got nothing else to do. I'm going to try them. So I think his Instagram show is neat. I hope more people start watching it. If you want to, everybody, it's 8 a.m. Chicago time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at Andy Gorman Golf on Instagram. I've enjoyed it so far. Yeah. And I think, he's taught me things I can actually practice, whether it's in my yard or in my basement, whatever. So and he's gearing this toward at-home things you can do because we're all in quarantine. Check it out. Gives you something to do instead of just pretending golf's going to be back in the near future.
Right.
So, those were my golf conversations today. And I got to tell you, I don't know about you. I'm pretty sure I have read, aside for illegal things, everything on the internet. I've looked at.
I've got some social media fatigue. It's really funny. So you brought this up again pre-show, and I had just thought about it like tonight. Like, I'm scrolling through the Twitter timeline or whatever, and it's just like, what am I doing? There's nothing really interesting happening. I have enjoyed there's a Twitter meme going where people are posting like one picture of something about golf, right? So I kind of appreciate that because you can see different courses or them with their family or whatever, but really it's just a bunch of, not that it's not a bunch of noise all the time, but it's especially just, there's so much nothing going on right now. It's brutal.
Well, even if there's not nothing, like there's only so many threads on Golf WRX I can read. There are a handful of golf forums and sites I refuse to go to. So I suppose I could expand my horizons there, but I won't do it.
It's not,
And then I get into like, if I go too far either way, it's sort of like, where is my water? There it is. Crucial crack podcast thing. You need your water. If I go too far and it's like, oh my God, golf guys, I can't stand them. Oh, they're the worst. So
right, you just read it.
Yeah, and I'm like, I've seen it. I've seen my wife said the same thing. She's like, I've ran out of things on the internet. I'm all done.
Yeah.
So content fatigue, real thing, and it's hitting hard.
Yep, I'm with you. Although, just don't forget to listen to our shows.
And that's the other thing. It's like, God, I've tried listening to some different podcasts. I'm listening to my podcast. I'm keeping up with them pretty well. But I was like, God, if I could just find 3 other podcasts that are in some sort of lane that I enjoy. And I mean, I've made it pretty clear how I feel about golf podcasts. So it's none of those.
Do you listen to Mark Maron?
Mark Maron?
Mark Maron.
I used to, and then I stopped.
Oh, really? I think he's the best of the bunch.
He's up there. I think he, in terms of skill at the craft, whether you like it or not, he is good at it.
He's really
Rogan's awesome at it.
I can see Rogan. I think Rogan has his moments, but sometimes I for whatever
I can't do
mood I'm in or something, I'm like, I don't want to listen to this guy talk.
Well, I was gonna say I can't do it's like I always say with like Dave Matthews Band and Nirvana, they're great bands, respect to them, and
Yeah.
they're so good at what they do. Not for me, and that's
Yeah.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And I would say I philosophically agree with a lot of things Joe Rogan says,
Sure. Yeah.
but it's like I can they're so long, like I can't do it.
Yeah. That's the other
Um,
thing. Yeah.
I want to say it was around the election when I stopped listening to Mark Maron. I stopped listening to a lot of podcasts around the election, and not so much because like, oh, they didn't agree, I didn't believe what they said, or it was more like their true colors of, again, not even like their political statements, but it's sort of like, no, there's not allowed to be different types of people out there who disagree, and
Yeah.
it wasn't even like, oh, we agree to disagree. It was very much like, no, it's my way or the highway. And I want to say something with Marin. I'm like, where somebody might be like, oh, that aligns though with you. I'd be like, no, not in the way he was saying it. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Interesting. Yeah.
But either I used to listen to it and something pushed me away. That said, I love him. He was so good in Glow. I think another Netflix show, right?
Yeah.
You watch
Yeah.
Glow?
No.
Oh, it was good.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised I haven't watched it because I really like him and he would drive me to a show. Like I watched his show too.
Allison Brie is a little much for me in the show. Actually used to not mind Allison Brie in the show, turned me off of her.
Okay.
It's a great show. I really liked it. And I was like, I'm not watching it. You watch, to my wife, like, you watch it on your own time. I'm like, wait, what's going on here? The show's kind of sweet. It's a good show. But yeah, so I don't know. That might help me, but then I feel like I'd just be like laying staring at the ceiling and be like, I'm listening to podcasts, and now I'm getting podcast fatigue.
Yeah. Eventually,
even the podcast, like, with nothing going on,
yeah,
they're drying up. Like they're boring.
Yeah. I did listen to the good segue that we didn't talk about, that we didn't really plan, but I did listen to the Bill Simons, Eddie Vedder, Jeff Ament episode last night, which is obviously really fun for me. I'm very biased. I'm a big Pearl Jam nerd.
No one can tell from the
often. It's not often that Ed Vedder will talk to someone like that for 2.5 hours or whatever. So it was pretty fun. And I'm pretty sure so two things that really jumped out to me. One, so we make fun of our kind of style on the podcast, or whatever you want to call it, like quality, whatever, right?
Right.
Bill Simons is mid-interview with Pearl Jam, like Ed Vedder and Jeff Ament, and he loses connection during the conversation, and his apparently his AirPods died, and so it was just Eddie and Jeff talking about whatever they wanted to talk about for like 5 minutes. Like, this is Bill Simons. This is a podcast that gets 1 million downloads a day or episode or whatever, and he just like had the most simplistic technical failure. I just really appreciated that.
Yeah,
so, that was fun.
I say this knowing I won't do it. I might go back and download that episode and listen to it.
I think you'd like it. I think it's pretty good. So they talk a lot about everything. It's really cool. They talk about the early days and different bands, and Ed Vedder he's clearly getting, he's clearly drinking during the episode. And so later in the episode, he's a little drinky, but you can also hear him flipping open his Zippo and lighting a smoke at least 4 times during the 2.5 hours. So
who knows what the contents of that smoke was.
But you could, so you know that he's just smoking whatever it is back to back to back. I'm sure he's just smoking cigarettes, but he could have been smoking weed. But I don't know if he would use a Zippo. That's not the most. Well, anyways,
he's Ed Vedder. He can do whatever the hell he wants. Right. Show some respect to your savior.
But then and like Bill Simons is a big Pearl Jam fan. He opens his show with the Pearl Jam song, always has. It's a whole thing. But you could also tell like Jeff and Ed were kind of starting to lose interest because his questions weren't really that good, if I dare say that about Bill Simons. But like at one point, I think Ed was like annoyed by the way he phrased one of the questions or something. Like you could, like he doesn't hide it, right? He just
that's his MO. He's notorious for that.
For sure. For sure.
He's
And
such a
it was something relatively, like they were talking about the number of drummers that the band has had, right? So they've gone through 5 drummers, and Ed was kind of like, it was very dismissive the way that Bill had asked about it, and Ed was kind of trying to stand up for the other drummers, like, they're actually people. Like that was kind of his like thing. They're not just like drummers. Like these are actually people we're talking about. But
right.
that's how Vedder I feel like can be prickly that way. So it had all of it. It had everything.
I feel like unless it's Jimmy Kimmel or David Letterman, Eddie Vedder has no interest in being interviewed.
Yeah, no, not really. He never has been. He never.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. I like to think I'm gonna go and listen to it now, just with so many of these little ticks on it. But don't hold me to it. You'd be like, hey, I really want to talk.
I don't hold you to anything, Bill. I hold you to nothing. Oh, did you start painting my blades? Did you start painting my new irons?
No, and I also don't appreciate that comment about holding me to anything. I am pretty reliable.
It's true, you are. That's why I don't have to hold you to anything, because if you say you're going to do it, you're going to do it.
Good save. Yeah. So no, I haven't. But I have some. There's one thing I've been dying for. It's just hit me. Man, I'm not going anywhere. I need to do something golf-y.
Yeah.
I need some projects. So I started I'll talk about it more another time, but a Scotty Cameron, I'm going to say refreshment project. It's not a restore. It's one, in short, I restored it 10 years ago myself and liked it. Well, over the years, I've messed around with it, and it had a paint job in it. Now I'm like, I'm not that guy. It's not a good one. And I'm going to repaint it. And I said, while I'm at it, it's been, tossed around over the years in bags and out of bags and head covers on off. It could use a little cleanup as well. So that's what I'll do. I'll take the project on, and I'm going to like elbow grease the hell out of this thing and get it back to when I originally restored it. Who knows? Maybe even better, because I've learned so much.
Make sure you get a before and after.
Well, I got before when I started now, but I don't really have, because it was 10 years ago, I don't really have great pictures of it then, and I don't have pictures of it from before I even did anything to it. So there are some gaps in it, but let's just say I got the buffing wheel out on the workbench in the garage. I haven't had that thing out forever.
Fun.
This leads us to your McGregor, what were they? Tommy Armour 915 irons.
Yeah.
Silver Scott, by the way.
Oh, God.
Good thing you got that new fancy windscreen.
It's like a hail in my hand.
Yeah, and the foam cover really protecting the pops, but you can't help. They don't help on
podcast listeners.
That was me punching my microphone for those that can't see. Anyway, to get the buffing wheel out, I had to get roughly 11 irons, maybe 25 of them. I don't know. It's a massive set of irons off my workbench in my garage. And I thought, and I started thinking about considering this the other day. I go, they're old. They're going to need, the paint's not going to be perfect. But I don't know. I haven't really looked that close. I should just say, hey, Chris, I'm going to refresh these. Well, then when I was moving them, I checked them, and like, they are missing tons of paint. Like, they definitely,
really,
they look fine, but it's one of those things like, a little paint would do. So, yeah, I'm figuring you and I will not see each other for at best June.
I'm going to say May. I think we're going to see each other in May. Again, I know I'm being optimistic, but I'm going to say May.
We're going to the time bomb in Chicago hasn't blown yet, but so either way, it's May, right?
We're still a long ways away.
And I'm like, just paint his irons. But then, so I was thinking, like, I'll just look up a picture, see what the old paint was, and redo it, assuming I have the colors. And then I went, no. I'm going to paint these some weird, wacky don't want to say not desirable because there's a certain element of who cares, but combination of colors that looks ridiculous, and be like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
that's what they are now. And you're gonna be like, so I either have to
I'll strip them and repaint them if I want to.
Yeah, you'll be like, I either got to repaint them myself, which I don't know if club painting's in your repertoire, which not saying you can't do it. It's easy to do, but
figure it out.
You could very easily.
I think there's a Range Heroes article about it.
There's a couple actually.
I know.
I'd be like, or it'll be you going, hey, all right, that was a funny joke. Fine. Can I get you to paint these back to the normal colors? I'll be like, I guess you better give me a few beers to drink while I do it, and sure, I'll paint them the normal color. So this is win-win for me anyway. We shake it,
right?
And ultimately, I feel like if I gave you back some vintage McGregors that were like hot pink, lime green, and gold, you'd be like, "No, I can work with this.
Yeah, I'll play that.
It's fine.
I'll play that. Yeah."
All right. Hey. This was, other than some serious COVID-19 talk at the beginning, I feel like this was a fairly upbeat day 11. Maybe it's the 2-day break of recording.
Yeah, could be. We miss each other.
Oh, we so do. That's the thing we do. It's not even a joke. All right. Well, hey, it's been a pleasure. Once again, my name is Bill Bush from DriveRangeHeroes.com. Find me at Range Heroes on these social medias. Chris McEwen, ChrisMcEwen.com. At Chris McEwen on social medias, YouTube, everything. Do it. Go see him. He'll post something every now and then related to golf. Until tomorrow. Well, again, I mean, last mathematical acrobatics about the show I'll do for you. If you're watching this on YouTube on Thursday, until next week.
Right.
We'll see you. If you're listening to the podcast, hey, until tomorrow. It's been a pleasure. Chris, right. Stay up, man. Stay safe. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, I'm going to go watch Ozark episode 5.
I'm going to go ahead episode 4. All right, later, bud. Yeah.